We're going to go back to 1975 with Picnic at Hanging Rock. This was a Australian film. It's quite a famous one in Australia. It's directed by Peter Weir. Now, Peter Weir would go on to make Dead Poets Society, 1989, and also The Truman Show, 1998, before returning to Australia, which is where he now lives again. He didn't really get on with Hollywood. Australian guy, came back to Australia, happy there. The story is fictional and is based on the 1967 book of the same name. It's based around a private school for girls in Victoria on Valentine's Day of the year 1900. Now, the schoolgirls go on a picnic at a place called Hanging Rock. Hanging Rock in reality, it does exist, Hanging Rock in reality is an interesting geological formation which was once a volcano. It's about 70 kilometres northwest of Melbourne. The traditional owners of the site had lived there for more than 26,000 years until the European colonists invaded and forcibly displaced the tribes from the area, in a very bad way, in fact. Two teachers accompany the girls, all driven by buggy, to the site of Hanging Rock. Now, during the picnic, Mr. Hussey, the buggy driver, notices that his watch had stopped on the stroke of 12, and so had the older one of the teachers. Her watch had also stopped on the stroke of 12. Then some of the girls are allowed to go and explore the geology of the rock formation after they've had their little picnic and a little bit of a rest. A young Englishman, Michael Fitzhubert, and his uncle and aunt, also on a picnic, see them pass. So he's sort of halfway up there. At the top, three of the girls and the younger teacher lie down for a bit of a rest, and then they wake up and go into a small indented part of the rock out of the sun. All these actions are as if they're in a trance, and they're all by now in their underwear. A fourth girl who followed them up screams at this behaviour and runs all the way down again in fear. The remainder of the school party have to return without them. They can't find them. And a search party is gathered from the local police, but they find nothing. Michael Fitzhubert, the man who saw them go past on the rock, is questioned, but he can't give any further information that's of any use. Michael, in the meantime, is now preoccupied endlessly about the schoolgirls and conducts another search himself, using a paper trail. Michael's valet, Albert, follows the Marcus the next day and finds Michael exhausted and speechless. Albert later finds one of the girls unconscious. Meanwhile, many of the parents have taken their children back from the school. The dehydrated girl is examined by a doctor only to find a few cuts on the hands and broken fingernails, nothing serious. The girl has no memory of what happened. Michael tries talking to the girl, who later ends up leaving for Europe. In many ways, this film is a gothic film, only Australian. There's a lot of unspoken and silent action, which suggests what might have happened instead of revealing it overtly. In the missing final chapter of the book, which is only released posthumously, the girls reach a spiritually charged location up on the rock. They tear their outer clothing off, as they do in the film, and throw it in the air where it is suspended without falling. And the girls are pulled into this rift in space. Now, that's not what we see in the film. This is a missing chapter of the book that was released after the book's author died. Or it may have been by the book's author, we don't know. The rhythm and pacing of the film, very slow, is intentional to mesmerise the audience away from piecing facts together. Everything is open, nothing encourages closure. The atmosphere of the film is more like a dream than reality in places. These days, there is an annual Picnic at Hanging Rock costumed event held around Valentine's Day at Hanging Rock, where participants dress in the costumes of the day and have a picnic and take selfies. So, Picnic at Hanging Rock, quite an important Australian film. Thank you very much. Goodbye.